Hey, good morning. It's Daryl here. Happy Monday. It's 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I want to talk today about ads, like these Trump ads. Um, every morning I go to watch one of my favorite channels, a couple of my favorite channels, and this isn't their fault. I know. I'm sure there's no way that these channels would intentionally put a Trump ad on their channel. But anyway. I've been reading up on authoritarianism and its connection to lying and how authoritarian leaders manipulate, just straight out lie, um, and the way they repeat it over and over again to saturate the air with just lies, and so just keep repeating it over and over until it's believed. And it doesn't take much with Trump supporters to believe anything. This one particular ad, he starts off saying something about little Adam Schiff. Right off the bat, I can't believe that here's a grown man, a grown 70-something-year-old man who's in the Oval Office, buying these ads for God knows how much money, and using these ads to make up childish nicknames for his opponents. These nicknames just they don't make me angry. I just look at them with like I can't believe this is happening. That a man of this age is using this tactic. And the thing that amazes me is it's not just one time. It's all the time. It's just I feel like I'm living in a an Orwell novel. All right. So he says little Adam Schiff lied. He lied for 2.5 years and made up this the narrative about he says he's talking about the Ukraine, and what he basically says, he looks right into that camera and he says Adam Schiff lied. He made this up. I never said these things, and that right there is a flat out lie. Um, I thought about it. If I was Donald Trump and I was being falsely accused, if I was anybody and I was being falsely accused of something, I'd bring something easily like, how about the actual text, the actual White House transcript of the phone call, and why not just show it? Why not just show it, and it'll say exactly what you said, and even that could be manipulated, but that would go a long way in resolving this situation, but he doesn't do that because he did, he's flat out lying. And again, this it's scary because it's an authoritarian move to just manipulate the people. So I looked at one of my favorite sites, PolitiFact, and so it's a non-biased, nonpartisan, bipartisan, non-biased fact-checking site. I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with it. They've won a Nobel Prize. And just briefly, it showed his fact checking for the last month. I think it was from January 4th to February 4th, I think. And it's stereotypical for Donald Trump. It was 34% mostly false. And then another 14% pants on fire, just outright, flat out, total lie. So almost 50% of the statements that were checked were flat out lies. 50% of the stuff that he said that was checked was just flat out lies. 50%. And that's not even counting the stuff that was half true or mostly false, somewhat false. There's about five. I think there's 5 different categories where it's true, mostly true, somewhat false, mostly false, and pants on fire. And I'd say he averages about 60% lies, just basically flat out lies. And this if you look for the year, this is it. And it's just incredible. And of course, one thing I learned in recovery is when people will accuse other people of doing what they fear being caught for doing. A thief will accuse other people of stealing, and part of it too, I think, is your conscience. If you're a thief, you believe that everybody else is stealing from you. If you're a liar, you believe everybody else is lying too. If you're a drug user, when I was a drug user, I thought everybody was using drugs. The funny thing is now that I'm clean and sober, I'm almost naive because I assume that most people aren't using drugs. And it's still, and that part of the subconscious is still working in me, where I've been proven wrong a few times, where I naively believe that most people aren't using drugs, and a lot of them are. And I found out late. Anyway, and there's just a never-ending list of lies within the last 6 months of Donald Trump. One of the most recent, he talked about North Carolina seats and how they were supposed to be won by Republicans anyway, and there was some talk of voter tampering by a Republican. And he was questioned about this. And he immediately changed the subject, and he started talking about how California is full of voting fraud. That was listed as a flat out lie. There's no proof in none of that. There's another interesting one where he talked about. I'm sure you guys all remember when he looked the camera and looked right into the camera and said, "If Russia, if you're listening, send me info on Hillary's emails." He flat out looked right into the camera, and asked for Russia's assistance in taking down his opponent. So then he backs up and he says, "Well, I was kidding around. The media is so sick and twisted that they pretend that this was real." He says, "I made this statement laughing in front of 25,000 frolicking people in our arena." That's what he said. That's all untrue. It was at a press conference. There was absolutely no one there. If you go back and look at the tape, he said he was laughing when he said it. No. He said it with the straightest of faces, most serious. And these are just a couple examples. Let me even come up with another example where his lying is it's to the point of pathological. Where he talks about for his border wall. Let's get back into that border wall. I love pounding Trump supporters on that. About that great. How many new miles of that wall have been built? How many new miles, not rebuilt miles? How many new miles? And how many billions did that 1 or 2 miles cost? Anyway, he talks about, now as a drug user, and I dealt in other parts of drug dealing, distribution stuff, and I'm not proud of it. But I was far from a high level. But you get to understand how the economics of the drugs work, how they come into the country, how they move through the country. And you start to understand that. And without a doubt, the most drugs come in shipping containers, in trucks, through legal ports, or through tunnels. A good amount that's how they come into this country. A very small amount come carried on backpacks through the desert. It's just not an efficient way of moving merchandise, moving your product. It's not. You're not using trustworthy people. You can't. If you're talking about millions of dollars or even thousands of dollars of product, you can't keep track of it with somebody in a backpack randomly going through holes in a fence. It's just not something that's done. Anyway, then he's talking about human trafficking. And he says, these people, they sneak these poor women through and they duct tape their mouths shut. They duct tape their hands between their legs and behind their back. And they bind them all up and drag them through these holes in the fence, through our border fence. He goes, they don't come through the regular ports of entry because we would see them. And this is just a flat out lie. Flat out lie. They come hidden in shipping containers in the backs of these rigs, a variety of ways, but mostly through legal shipping. That's how they come into the country. A good portion of them. So and this stuff about them being bound up. I'm sure that in some cases of kidnapping, but these people these people are paying thousands of dollars to get into the country. Uh, they're paying their life savings to try to find freedom and work for their families and escape violence. The last thing they want to do is get caught. There would be no need to bind them up with duct tape, you know. And again, Trump comes across as this do-gooder who loves America and loves people. And the perception, again, it goes back to the bigger picture is that of an aspiring or authoritarian. That is this man is changing, is altering history as it's happening. He's altering the record of what he's done, what he said, where he alters all this. He's just flat out changing history, uh, changing facts, changing. And when he changes these facts about human trafficking, about drugs, when he lies about how it really occurs, it makes it harder to stop. It makes the problem worse because we're not looking at a realistic view of what's really happening here. Like I was just saying, shipping containers. And there's actually, I have to look this up, but in his budget, he's talking about taking money away again from the guard, the Coast Guard, which is probably one of the best intervention of drugs coming into the country and illegal people. And he's taking money away from that. He's taking money away from the military to build this wall. And I think in the effort to build this monument to his ego, like an authoritarian dictator would, he's making the problem worse. He really is. Because he's not looking at the facts on how this is actually happening, how these drugs are actually coming into the country. The drug dealers must love him. Seriously, I could imagine the cartel guys back down in South America just loving it. Keep building that wall. Spend all your money on that wall. God bless Donald Trump. He's going to keep all his people, all the money flowing to build this wall. Well, all these drugs are coming in through plane, especially through boat. I don't know how many submarines, small submarines they've captured, drones, tunnels. What about the tunnels underneath the? I don't know. There's talk of the ground sensors. To me, it just looks like cheap metal, 30-foot pieces of metal. How sophisticated they are, I don't know. But still, this doesn't address how these people how this stuff is being sneaked right through our ports of entry, or through the water or air, in the main way. So while Trump pretends to build this wall and put all of the effort and money and attention on the wall, meanwhile, the rest of the country is leaking like a sieve, and that's the problem. Again, an aspiring authoritarian leader building this monument to himself. I mean, if you really look at that wall, what is it? What do you think, in 10 years, in 20 years, Donald Trump wants a monument to him? He wants his own Rushmore. I truly believe that. Truly in my heart, I believe that this is a legacy that he wants to leave. Even if it's, even if it's factually helping it, not even helping at all. It's a monument to his ego. And it's not helping. Just a few of the facts I dug up. The more I read into authoritarianism, into totalitarianism, fascism, but especially authoritarianism is kind of like the first step. And we're well into that. Honestly, if you read the description of authoritarianism, other authoritarian leaders right now, they are friends of Donald Trump. They are people that Donald Trump admires. We're already there. That's like the video I made, I believe I talked about it yesterday. It's not even the Republican Party anymore. It's an authoritarian. I kid around and I call it the party of Trump or the whatever, but it's more of an authoritarian. We're drifting into that where now this president, after he's been that's another one more lie I just remembered this one too. In the same commercial, he said that even after 2.5 years of little Adam Schiff, and he's spending billions of dollars on investigations, which is not true. And then you look back at all the money they spent on investigating these supposed emails. But anyway, he says, I was completely 100% absolved of any wrongdoing. That's a flat out lie. That's a flat out lie, and it's a manipulation of what really happened, and it's changing history. He wasn't absolved in any way, shape, or form. It's quite the opposite. After that, the acquittal, a good number of his own people, of his own party, came out and said he did wrong. He did wrong. We're just not gonna pull him out of office for it at this point in time. That's what his own people said. But in his commercial that I just watched a half hour ago, he states that he was completely 100% absolved. And so these things are pounded into the Trump supporters' face over and over, day after day. The Adam Schiff completely lied and wasted all your money. And I was completely 100% innocent. I never said those things. Every one of those statements is a complete 100% lie. There's no other way to state it. Pants on fire, complete falsehood. And he just repeats these over and over again. If that's not an authoritarian president or authoritarian leader in the making, or already here, I don't know what is. And when Trump supporters say, oh, Democrats are just sore losers, it's all about 2016. No, not at all. Hillary who? I don't even care, man. This is what I care about. Our country turning into a George Orwell novel, or already here. It already is. That's what scares the hell out of me. That's why I rage against Donald Trump. That's why I make this channel. It has nothing to do with 2016. It's just a convenient way for them to avoid talking about any issues. Is to say, well, the Democrats, liberals, they're just upset about 2016. This way they don't have to address any of the things we're talking about. They can just say it's just all them, sour grapes. Oh well. And they don't have to address any of the things that we're talking about by doing that. It's a scary time. All right, you guys have a good Monday.